In this video, we are going to cover a beginner-friendly project using this UV printer right here, the eufyMake E1. We're going to focus mostly on software here, and the goal is to help you get comfortable with the eufyMake software and machine so you can be confident when you go out and start creating your own projects. Hey, I'm Sarah, you're watching Creative Ramblings. Today's video is all about UV printing. Specifically, we are going to create a beginner-friendly project together using this machine right here. This is the eufyMake E1 UV printer and the eufyMake software. The goal of this video is to help you get really comfortable with the software and the process. I want to show you a few tips and tricks that I use to get really good results. And then I want you to walk away feeling really confident when you go out and make your own projects. So this is great if you've got this on order or you're thinking about ordering it, or if you've already got it and just haven't gotten started yet. So real quickly, let's touch on this machine. This is a UV printer, and I do have more in-depth explainer videos if you want to understand a little bit more about UV printing. Essentially, this is a printer that puts ink directly onto hard surfaces and then cures it with a UV light. So unlike an inkjet printer or a laser printer, which is going to print on paper, this can do all sorts of hard objects. Be sure to take a look at my other videos. I just did one recently on 9 different things that you can print on and sell. The project we're making today is a really simple, basic happy birthday wooden tag that you could attach to a gift bag or a wrapped box, and then the person you're giving it to can reuse it. So although this project is simple, I'm going to try to highlight a lot of the different features in the software that you can then expand on and use later. So the first thing we need to do is get our printer set up. When you get this UV printer, it is always going to be on. So mine is plugged in, connected to Wi-Fi. This is always on. There are 2 doors on this printer. There is a front door and there's a back door that can open. And inside right now, I have the mini flatbed. Typically, I would leave a plastic covering on top of it just to protect it from dust, but I've already taken that off. These flatbeds are super easy to switch out. So this is the mini flatbed right here. It has kind of a sticky surface on top to help put our blank item on. And then the large flatbed is very similar, just larger. Always make sure you lock it in place. So really the only thing we need to do is put our blank on that sticky surface and then move over to the software. We are just using a pre-cut wood tag here. You always want to make sure that your blank is very clean. Now this is wood, so I just took a microfiber cloth and made sure there wasn't any dust or debris on it at all. If you are using a blank that is not wood, so something like ceramic or glass or metal, acrylic, you're going to want to clean it really well. One of the biggest issues you can have with UV printing is if your material is dirty. So this right here is a clear acrylic bag tag that I made. And if I'm touching it like this, all that grease from my fingers is getting all over this, and it's going to prevent really good adhesion. So for something like this, I would clean it really well. You can use rubbing alcohol on surfaces like metal, that type of thing, and then hold it like this and place it in your machine. So clean material is going to hold ink really, really well. Then we would just place it in the machine. Now my goal for this project is to cover the entire thing with ink, which means I might get a little bit of overspray. So some of the ink might come off the sides a little bit and end up on this base. That's fine, it's not gonna hurt it too much, but if you get too much overspray, then some of this stickiness goes away. So let's pop this off. One of my favorite things to do is just put a little bit of painter's tape on here. Having this blue tape on here is going to allow me to put my little wood round right there, and any ink that sprays over is going to hit the tape, and then I can just pull the tape off. I didn't center it because I have some textured overspray here, so it would make the surface a little uneven. So we can put this back in. And then we can put our piece in. Now we're going to go over to the software and create a project. This is the home screen of eufyMake Studio. And on this home screen, we're going to see a bunch of inspirational projects. Some of these were created by the company. Some of these were community projects that you can then recreate. Kind of fun. There's a lot of good ideas on here. So up on the very top, we have a couple of things you can explore. We have projects to make. This Creative Lab is an AI-inspired place where you can create your own graphics using AI. This Academy opens up another window, and there's a lot of tutorial videos in here. Campaigns, every now and then they're going to run some campaigns where if you submit a design, you could be entered to win something. And then this is the description that gives you credits. These credits can be used for some of the AI features in the software. On the very top, there is the home icon, and next to it is device. So let's go to device. This is going to tell us all about our printer. So this is the E1 that is connected. It is idle. It is ready to print. I have a little warning down here. So this says that my scraper and my air filter have expired. I need to replace them. I do have that plan to replace this week. I will probably make a video on it, but I can still run my machine with those expired. I can just hit this little X here. If you run into a situation where your ink is expired, let's see if I can get to that. I have ink here and all of it's available. It's not expired. If you run into a situation where your ink is expired, you cannot print. You cannot make a project. The ink has to be within the right date range in order to use it. My ink is now good. Everything down on the bottom here are things that I have created, and on the right is all kinds of maintenance. So if you need to calibrate, if you need to change anything, if you need to clean your lines, that's where you're going to handle it on the right there. So we're going to come all the way back up to Untitled Design. And the way I got to that is from the home screen. I just clicked New Project. And now I've got this Untitled Design here. So this is the screen where we create. So on the very right, I am going to name this project. And this publish button here, this will pop up as available later. If I were to create a design, I can publish it and then it'll show up in that community projects section so someone else can create my design. So moving down a little bit, I want to click on standard flatbed because that's not what I'm using. We're using the mini bed. And going down a little bit more, I have a couple different ways to figure out where my blank is in that machine. The way that I like to use the most is with snapshot right here. This just takes a picture of what's in there and then I can line up my design using the picture. If you have an item that is very small, or maybe it's transparent or it's hard to see with the camera, you can use this assisted shot right here, and you can walk through that, and you have to do a little bit of manual measurement, but it is good if you're having trouble seeing it with the camera. The other option is 0-point alignment. If you are going to be creating the same thing over and over, let's say you have a jig and you're going to do 20 different pieces at a time and then put 20 more on, you can calibrate 0-point alignment so you don't have to take a picture every time. But right now we are going to click snapshot. It's going to take about 90 seconds for that to take a picture. So while that is working, let's go over to the left-hand side and take a look at these options here. So we have our upload button, and this would be for you to bring in any kind of artwork that you design. So you just upload it right here. A PNG or a JPEG is ideal. You can also bring in an SVG. The next one is the ability to create images using AI. This is where those credits come in. There's a lot of different options for creating images here. We are going to skip textures for a second and come down to templates. So these are designs that are already put together for you. And this is actually what we're going to use because we are making a little birthday tag that can be reused again. So really good search capabilities. You can pull up all kinds of things. We're going to go with this one right here. And if I click on it, it just gets added to my canvas. And you can see it's in a lot of different pieces, so there's actually a lot we can do with that, so we're going to come back to this in just a minute. Under elements, we have all kinds of different graphics, images, and shapes you can use to create your own design. Or if you upload something, you can add to it with these. There are thousands of elements to choose from in here. Then we have text. You can just add text. You can use the Eufy font or your system font, or you can use some of the fonts that are already created in here. The next button is projects, and this takes me back to the projects that I have already created. All right, and our snapshot has shown up. So with this template right here, these are all individual pieces. So I want to click and highlight everything and move it like that so I can move it all together. When I click on any of these elements, I'm going to get some options up on top here. So right now I've just got one of the pieces selected. I can change colors. I can add an outline. I can come up here to cutout, which is essentially removing a background layer or removing pieces of a layer. I also have text in here. So if I click on happy, I have options to pull up more fonts and change it that way. I can also change size, color, boldness, all kinds of different things. So a lot of options to play around with this. You can really make it your own. I am going to take off those little paw prints and just stick with the happy birthday. So now I want to take this whole thing, bring it together, and if I merge layers here, it's going to bring all the pieces together in one. So now when I'm moving it around, it's all one piece. By doing that, I am creating a couple other options up here. The first one is the crop button. So I could crop this down to a circle. I could change sizes, all different types of things. I can also use this adjustment layer here to play around with the brightness or the coloring. There's a number of different options up here. Basically, this is treated as an image and I can play around with it with those options. But right now I want to put it on my tag. So if I bring it over, you can see that the image becomes transparent, which is really helpful for lining everything up. All right, so I'm happy with where that is at. So let's look at a few other options down in the bottom here. There is a layers button. Right now, I only have one layer, but if you were working with an item that had lots of different layers, this is an easy way to select them. Over here, where this little pointer is, I can switch to the hand tool. The hand tool helps me move the whole screen around. So if you're zoomed in and you want to move around, that hand tool is helpful. We also have a quick tool for shapes, a quick tool for text, undo, redo, zoom in, and zooming to fit. So if we stay clicked off of the item, we can come back over to the right and see what else is down here. We've taken our snapshot. Now we want to pick quality. I pick standard for most of my items. High quality is going to give you a little bit better quality. I don't see too much of a difference on most of my items. Then we can choose material, which is actually up here, and I'm going to choose wood. By choosing material, the software is going to suggest an ink variation for you. You can always change around this, but we're going to select the wood as our material. This white underbase choke, it's really helpful if I click that question mark here. If you adjust the white choke, it is going to make it so you can't see the white around the edges. So I wouldn't mess with this until you've done a couple prints. And if you notice you're getting a white layer around it, come back in and adjust the choke. So now we're going to click on our ink here. And this tells us where the ink mode is. Right now we're going to do white CMYK. What that's going to do is lay down a layer of white and then put the color over the top. If I just put color on wood, it's not going to be very bright. It's going to be a little bit faded because it's not on a white background. So I do want white first and then CMYK. There are a lot of other options here. If I was fine with a little bit of a less vibrant color, I can just do CMYK. I can do white CMYK and then gloss to make it a little bit shinier, to hold that in a little bit more. Lots of options here, but right now we're just going to do white CMYK. The thicker the white, the more vibrant your color is going to be. I am going to stick with 4 layers of white here, and we're going to see how that turns out. 6 is a really good layer. You get some vibrant colors. I can't really go below 4. I won't get a very vibrant color. quick note here while I'm editing because I didn't say it in the video. If you want to print a flat item, then you're gonna go through all those things we just talked about. So the different layers of white, the standard quality, adding the CMYK. If you want to add texture, which we're going to do next, you don't really have to worry about choosing a quality or picking your layers because once you add texture, all of that is going to be chosen for you. Now let's take a look at texture here. I want to add a little bit of texture to this image. So if I click flat right now, it's just going to print. By nature of UV printing, you will feel the ink on the item that you've printed on. But if we really want it to show, we can do flat raised. And then we've got a preview button here, and you can click through and play around with this to see how it looks. Flat raised just brings the whole thing up a little bit. And if I scroll down a little bit more, the actual thickness is going to be 1 millimeter off that piece of wood. Then we have pattern texture, which is going to follow the pattern of our design. And this is the one that I like because that kind of doily looking item and the text is going to be raised up off the color. And I really like that. So that's what we're gonna do here is pattern texture. And I don't need it to be that thick. The thicker it is, the more ink you're going to use and the longer it's going to take. So we are gonna bring this down to 0.3 millimeters. Oops. 0.3 millimeters, just a tiny bit of raised texture there, but it is still going to give me a really cool look. So once I'm happy with that, I've got my color, I've got my raised texture, everything's good. Oh, another thing you should notice, anytime you do texture, your quality is going to get bumped up to high quality. We can't change that back. That's just the nature of the ink. So way down on the bottom, I can hit preview here. This is kind of the preview we just saw, and it's going to show me what I'm making. I can zoom in, I can see what's happening here, but I'm happy with this. So let's go to print. When we are printing, this is a UV printer, so there is a UV light in it. With this mini bed, I'm gonna keep the doors closed. That's what I need to do. If you have the larger bed in, use the glasses that come with the machine and wear these, protect your eyes while this is printing. So once this sends over, you're gonna hear a little noise. We can hit the button and this is gonna start printing. In the software, it's gonna show us what's happening. Right now, it's priming everything. It's got a countdown on there that is pretty accurate. And then when everything is done, it is going to show me how much ink that I used. One of the things I like about this software and this printer is that it has an app too, so I can walk away from the printer and monitor what's going on. You can also fully design and work in this app. I just prefer to use a computer, but it is nice to know that this is available. Ooh, it turned out so cute. It's got just a little bit of texture on it. This turned out fantastic. Color all the way to the edge. I'll show you the overspray in a second. And I can absolutely feel this texture where that white doily piece came up and then the happy birthday came up. But again, we only did 0.3 millimeters, so it's not super visible, but in person, it looks fantastic. So I'm gonna add a little piece of string to this, and then this can be a reusable birthday tag on a gift. This is our flatbread. That is the overspray there. So I can just pull and now I've got a nice clean mat. The tape works really well. I wouldn't necessarily use a piece of paper. Sometimes it can stick on there too much, but the tape pulls off really, really well. There it is. We've got a simple birthday tag that we made that's got some texture, and this can be reused. The goal of this video was to do a very simple beginner project. It's going to help you get familiar with the software so that you can have some confidence going out and creating with this printer. I do have other videos on the E1 if you want to learn more, kind of understand some different functions of this, and if you want some example projects, I have a ton of them. If you have any more questions, or if there is something else specific you want me to cover, let me know down in the comments. I would love to share more videos on this machine with you. If you like this video, if you found it helpful, give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing. I'm here every week with new videos helping you move forward in your creative journey. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.